Hello everybody. Well, this one, it's a special video message representation for February of 2024. The next one will be in May of 2024. But why I'm doing it today is because today, on the 28th of February of 2024, marks my wonderful good new friend who I love faithfully dearly. It's her birthday today. She's not based over in the United Kingdom, she's in American. Just to say. But oh my goodness, despite the distance and how far apart we live and all that, I love her faithfully dearly. I mean, and I'm trusting towards her, even if I'm not trusting towards her in the same way I'm trusting towards others. I'm trusting towards her in the way I'm generally trusting with all of my friends. But certainly do I love her faithfully dearly because she's always so lovely to me whenever I hear from her. And she is an avid cat lover like myself. I don't know if she has an enthusiasm for trains and buses, but she definitely has an affinity for cats. That's what I can tell you, as do I. But don't get me wrong, I like dogs. I like dogs too, but I much prefer cats. But I've actually looked after dogs before, if you didn't know. I've looked after dogs and I've even looked after cats. Having recently looked after Otto and Suki, the cats, and I'm going to do it again someday in the future, despite the fact that they can be a long handful. They are beautiful cats all the same. And my Daphne can be a slight handful, as can Nixie, but not far too much, luckily. Fortunately, their long handful of behaviour is sustainable, at least, if I may point out. But I'm not saying it as a complaint, I'm saying it as a set of strong observations, simply enough. But she has cats too. And this friend I'm referring to is, oh my goodness, none other than that lovely Debra Coleman. And it's Deborah's birthday. She did ask me to kindly think of her. And earlier today, I wished her a happy birthday, and she was like, oh, thank you, something like that, that kind of... I did get the kindly response. But I thought I'd do this video representing her. I may have represented her in a video before, but it would have been a Daphne or Nixie video, not in a casual video, that sort of thing, that was casually made in the handing grip of myself. But I love Deborah. She's a lovely lady. I mean, I don't love... How I found out about Deborah herself was through Graham and Fiona Hesketh, who I've just had the tremendously huge fortune to have encountered. I've made many, many, many wonderful new friends thanks to Graham and Fiona, and I am extremely, enormously thankful and grateful, largely from the deepest depth and soul bottom of my heart, since to have encountered all my wonderful, many, many wonderful new friends of mine because of Graham and Fiona. You know. I wish I could say the other thing, but I'm probably going to cry if I end up talking about... I'm not going to cry, don't worry. It wasn't something Deborah said, it was something someone else once said to me, because it was so lovely, and nobody had ever said that to me before. And sometimes I've cried, getting emotionally invested, but happily, though, after she said it to me. And some of you could probably guess what line that was my good friend said to me. I may or may not have said it before, but I think some of you could figure it out for yourselves. Because I'm not going to say it because it will make me cry. Yes. And one thing that was interesting about Deborah, there's an astonishing story she once shared with me. I did a post representing the importance of never taking your new shoes for granted, or shoes that you have ownership of, never take them for granted. Why I represented that is because there are people out there who have trouble finding shoes, really those whose feet have overshot, say, size 12 UK or 13 US. So normally those who are like a 13 UK, 14 US or bigger, they normally have a great, great, great deal of trouble finding new shoes for them whenever the needs arise for them. Because I was representing the post that I had to get rid of a pair of my size 8 UK or 9 US or EU 42 shoes because they were so worn to the point where they were nearly falling apart. I mean, I have once had the idea of trying to wear shoes until they fall apart, but it wouldn't go down well with the family should I do something like that. You know, they'd be, your shoes, it's falling apart. Well, my grandmother, Anne, would particularly be like, what's happened to your shoes? They're falling apart. That's the sort of reaction I would get from my family if I was wearing a pair of shoes that were just in the process of falling apart. That's what would happen, I'm afraid. So I may one day in the future wear the current shoes I have ownership of until they fall apart. But if I did do that, it just would not go down well with my family. It really wouldn't. Particularly on my father's side of the family, it wouldn't go down so well. Certainly with my elderly grandmother Anne, the widow of Edmund. Yeah, not brilliant. But when I did the post, she commented on it and she was like, my late friend Tom, he was 7 feet and was a whopping size 16 shoes. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure if she meant 16 UK, that would be the equivalent of a 17 US. But a whopping size 16. Oh my. But if he was size 16 US, he'd be a size 15 UK, which is actually exactly the same foot sizing as my friend Tommy Gardiner. As Tommy Gardiner, he takes a whopping size 15 UK and 16 US. But he's not 7 foot, by the way. He's 6'3", just to say. And I remember telling my friend Sandra about this, and she was like, yikes, that is Bigfoot. I would not want to be your friend Tommy for when the needs arises and comes to find a new pair of shoes. I would not want to be him. No, I wouldn't either, which is why I never take new pairs of shoes for granted, because there are people out there who cannot find them accessibly well, and they either have to have their shoes either specially ordered and purchased online, or custom and tailor-made in those resorted scenarios. Not brilliant. You know. Yes. And then she shared the story after she said that her friend Tom was a full 7 foot. I mean, oh my goodness, a full 7 foot in height. And then the size 16 shoes, she was like, he wore his shoes until they fell apart. That was when he was alive, a long time before he died. I don't know how long it's been since Tom died, because Deborah never did share that with me, but never mind. But I wouldn't want to ask Deborah, because I think that would be adversely painful for her, because I don't know how close a friendship she had with Tom, even though he was, over 7 foot. Oh my goodness, a full 7 foot in height, you know. I mean, I don't know if Deborah is a tall lady or not, I don't know. It's possible that she is, and it's possible that, either her ex or late husband was a tall man as well. So, it's obviously however they met Tom, it's got to have been because of their either having a tall height or through other interesting reasons behind it, But one day I'll find out. But never mind if not. I would never pressure Deborah into it, because I think the friendship she and Tom had was really, I think it must have been quite deeply personal, So it must have been, I'm pretty sure either she met Tom herself or her ex or late husband met Tom, which is how, and then was introduced to Tom through her, or possibly a good friend of hers, Yes. Deborah had an interesting friend called Tom who was 7 feet tall. Oh my goodness, we'd have to find a particularly large theatrical hall. He always wore his huge size 16 shoes until they fell apart. And I expect they were solid hard, like a dart. But he must have been a very good man in the deepest depth soul of his heart. I think that's about as far as I can go with with Deborah's late friend Tom in that poem. I don't know how he would take to it if he was still alive as of 2024, but I have to see what Deborah says, shall I? Oh, bye. Yes. But if you are watching, Deborah, a very happy birthday to you for today, on Wednesday of the 28th of February 2024. Well, we appreciate you. I certainly greatly appreciate you for your friendship and your friendly, fantastic courtesy, your supportive encouragement, and your kindness. Certainly is always greatly appreciated, even though we don't hear from each other regularly, I know. I will still always have you and your wonderful cats you've spoken so highly of to me very, very much in the skull depth brain of my very thoughts. Intellectually, I will always remember and be thinking of you very, very much in my thoughts, in the very soul depth of the brain, behind the skull cap. Indeed I will. Always your friendship with mine will always be in my very soul. And I will always love you, and I'll always think fondly of you. And whatever it was you've done or are to be doing later today, on your birthday, over in your home US state, I really do hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday, as you deserve every best wish and every fun, pleasurable enjoyment for your special birthday, as do all of my wonderful friends, including that of Graham and Fiona Hesketh, and as well Trevor Colt and his wonderful partner Gwen, Hutchie and Mel, and all of my wonderful friends, particularly those who I'm very, very close to. Even though you are a trusting friend of mine, I'm trusting of you, Deborah, in the same way I'm trusting with any of my friends, but I have, through Graham and Fiona, there are only 11 friends who I am very, very, very tremendously, hugely, greatly trusting of, and 11 only, and those who I absolutely love enormously and very, very faithfully, deeply. Those ones are Tony Stark, Mary Ipock alongside her dearly loved husband Glenn, Sandra Parrott, Mrs. Murphy, lovely Rosie, or Tudor Rosie, and who's next? Susan Reich, Michelle Pope, Elaine Williams, Caroline Allen, Rosie's Cottage, that's the Rosie in Scotland, and then there's the Rosie in America, and last but not least, Catherine T., and she's over in Iceland as far as I'm remotely certain and aware. And those are the 11 friends of ends only who I am most very, very, very trusting and tremendously, hugely love very, very faithfully, dearly. But I love you faithfully, dearly, as a close friend, but not in the way I tremendously, hugely love very, very faithfully, dearly the other friends of mine who I've mentioned towards you in this very video. So a very happy birthday to you, my lovely, lovely lady, Deborah. Very, very merry, happy returns on your special day. Thanks all, everybody, for watching. Deborah does sometimes come over for whenever chance allows for her, just to say, but it's all right. I don't always expect to hear from every one of my subscribed fans or casual followers. Whenever viewing my content, I don't expect to hear from them all the time. I only expect to hear from them for whenever chance allows for them and for whenever the timing is right for them to watch it and comment and all that. Certainly no issue on that whatsoever. Thanks all for watching, and here it is to my wonderful friend Debra Coleman on her special birthday. Ta-ta, another time. From Foxy. A happy birthday to you, my wonderful friend Deborah. Happy birthday from myself, your good friend Foxy. Also on the very behalf as well from Graham and Fiona Hesketh, Trevor Colt, and his partner Gwen, and also Hutchie and Mel. Happy birthday, my wonderful Deborah. Much love always.